Hello there, we continue our reviews of current events in the world. Today we'll talk about Serbia and how the United States, through other countries, is trying to destroy stability in the world. Since July 31, world community is watching the situation in the breakaway region of Kosovo and Serbia. Over a long period, the Balkans remains the tinderbox of Europe. Another spark that led to an escalation of the conflict on the peninsula became a prohibition by Pristina to enter Kosovo with Serbian vehicle registration numbers and documents. To understand the essence of the conflict, which has been going on for more than 600 years, it's necessary to look at the ethnic composition of the recognized republic and how it has changed over the last century. Nowadays, Kosovo is home to about 2 million people. Indigenous Serbs are only 5%. They are forced to leave their land because of ethnic conflicts. The problem is that the north of Kosovo is populated mainly by the remaining Serbs and adheres to the laws and norms of Serbia. All the inscriptions are in Serbian and the Serbian dinar is used as the main currency. Even despite the low standards of living and constant cultural and religious persecution, the remaining Kosovo Serbs don't want to leave their homes. In its turn, Serbia, which doesn't recognize the self-proclaimed Republic of Kosovo, provides various assistance to its population living in these territories. Another escalation on the northern border of Kosovo, one of the most serious in the last decade, began because of car plates. The Kosovo authorities, who control now all of its territories, have announced that they will no longer allow vehicles with Serbian car plates to cross the border. The reason for this step is very simple. Serbia doesn't recognize the sovereignty of Kosovo with all state attributes and accordingly doesn't recognize Kosovo car plates. In response, Pristina decided to force the Serbs to use Kosovo numbers. Now, when Serbs enter the territory of Kosovo, they must change the registration numbers of Serbia for local ones, paying a fee. Such kind of revenge. Serbs who don't recognize the Albanian authorities on both sides of the crossing points connecting the northern regions with Serbia staged spontaneous protests and blocked the streets leading to checkpoints. In response to the actions of the demonstrators, the NATO-led armed units of the Kosovo force were put on alert. Residents were also warned not to leave their homes. On the same day, Serbian President Aleksandar Vučić appealed to his citizens that the Kosovo army and police would launch a military operation against ethnic Serbs who live in the north of the republic. The conflict isn't over even today. The escalation of the conflict occurred in the background of the formation that new Serbian government supports a pro-Western course. So don't you think that conflict in Kosovo was initiated by Washington? Serbia remains the last state in the Balkans that defends its sovereignty and doesn't want to support anti-Russian sanctions despite the enormous pressure. The current situation looks like the West is trying to get rid of the last Balkan state focused on cooperation with Russia. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe, join our Telegram. Stay tuned and stay safe.